What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Sun and today I finally got a randomizer working. So today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Sun, Hardcore Nuzlocke, Shiny Randomizer. So it's gonna be an interesting challenge. I actually never done a randomizer on Pokemon Sun. I think the most I've done was on obviously ORAS and X and Y. So this is gonna be my first try at the randomizer. And obviously we're gonna tinker around with the settings later on, but it's gonna be a hardcore Nuzlocke, so I can only catch one Pokemon per route, and they have to be shiny. And if they ever faint, they are dead. So permadev's on. There's also level cap, which I actually extended, so you can see the level cap is actually 22, which normally is 15. That means I have a 1.5 increase for the entire game. Their levels will be 1.5 times harder. They're also randomized moves, so they can pull out any move at any point. So we have random level up moves at any point. The TMs are random. I couldn't change the pickup items to be random, but also the Pokemon Mart are random. The Pokemon are random. Everything's random as much as I can. Even the evolutions are random, which I got it to work this time fully round. So unlike the ORAS run, the random evolutions does work. But besides that, it's gonna be a hardcore Nuzlocke. You guys know the rules on screen. On top of that, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, I already ruined the video. I messed up the video pretty bad. I forgot to switch the starters. I forgot. I don't know how I forgot it, but I forgot to switch up the starter Pokemon. And the starter Pokemon are actually vanilla. And then from there, I was like, oh, did I just ruin the ROM? Let me just check. And then from there, How has a Cutie Fly at level 7. So I'm like, oh, okay, so the ROM is working. And then he just destroys me. I was like, what? Why do you have Inferno Cutie Fly? I think that was just the funniest thing in the world. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep this in. I gotta run this ROM at this point. I can't re-roll. So from there, I just decided no starter Pokemon. I'm just gonna get Pokeballs. And then from there, I'm just gonna start shiny hunting in Route 1. Kyogre. Where did Kyogre come from? I don't know, but hopefully I don't get Kyogre because I don't think I got the Pokeballs to catch him. I eventually got myself a shiny Pokemon, which is going to be Larvitar, which I'm like, this is kind of good. Like, it's going to evolve randomly, but I didn't know that at the time, so I'm like, oh, Tyranitar could be if I keep this thing on my team. So from there, we're going to get revenge on How, and lucky enough, it doesn't have that demonic Cutiefly. We're going to beat down How and then move out into Howley City. From there, we can start shiny hunting out here as well. We get a few Pokemon. There's a Fortress with Imposter, which I don't even know what's going on. I forgot to tell you guys, abilities are randomized at this time around too. From there, we're going to find ourselves a shiny Keldeo. I'm like, what? Keldeo? So I'm going to try to catch this thing. I'm like, you know what? I got a bunch of Great Balls. I got Pokeballs. If I don't catch this thing, you know what? I'll probably lose to a Lima. So I'm going to lose to a Lima anyways if I don't catch this thing. So I got to catch this thing since it's my only encounter before a Lima. And luckily enough, got enough Spiky Shield to lower HP. I'm gonna go for I'll go for more Pokeballs and eventually caught him in a Pokeball. Not even a Great Ball, a Pokeball. So yeah, we caught ourselves a Keldeo on like our second Pokemon. And then from there, I realized that Pokemarts are actually open and they got random items. And Master Balls were in the Pokemart the whole time. So honestly, I went through all that stress for no reason. I should have checked the Pokemart earlier. So I'm gonna get myself 50 Master Balls because I obviously doubt we're gonna get that many Pokemon in the first place, but just to be certain, we got infinite Master Balls, so we won't miss any captures from now on. We also face off against Lima, and I was right. Most of her Pokemon, she has 6 Pokemon, by the way. All important trainers, every trainer that's like a checkpoint is gonna have 6 Pokemon, and it's gonna be Force Evolution at level 30. So against Lima, this is gonna be a pain. So lucky enough, we end up beating down a Lima, and we had Keldeo to do that. So from there, we can move out and catch ourselves on next Pokemon in Route 3, which is going to be a shiny Chimchar. This is going to be the funniest thing. We catch Chimchar in a Master Ball. Chimchar is going to evolve at level 14 into Chikorita. Okay, Chikorita evolves into... Okay, Froakie. Froakie then evolves into a Charmander. So I was like, okay, are they just giving me the same, like, first stage Pokemon? So I evolved Charmander, and Charmander evolves into Crocodile. So we have a Crocodile on the team after all that. So I'm like, that worked out. And then we're going into the cemetery area and get ourselves a shiny Sceptile, which is huge because we had the Sceptile Eye. We have the Mega Stone for Sceptile, but we don't have the Mega Ring. So I don't know how that worked. So it didn't actually work out as well. We go into the trial, and the trial is actually giving me the same levels, which kind of sucks. So the trials are going to be the easiest part of the game because they didn't actually switch up. I could have switched up the WoW encounter fights to have higher levels, which I might do next time. But I didn't think. I just kind of forgot about that entirely. Anyways, we're in Verdant Cavern after facing up against the first trial, and then from there we can start shiny hunting out here. And we get ourselves a shiny Thundurus. I'm like, this is like the third I think this is the third or fourth legendary we've seen, and we actually caught ourselves 2 of those shiny legendaries. So we get ourselves a shiny Thundurus. We also go back out into the Pokemon after finishing off a trial and get a bunch of nice items for us as well. Some boosting items for our attack. We also find us a shiny Hydreigon in melee metals. So honestly, my team is pretty stacked at this point. We're gonna move out and face off against the first boss fight in the game. We're gonna face off against the Kahuna. We're gonna face off against Hala. Hala's gonna start the battle off against us using a shiny Seadra. I'm like, everyone got a shiny Pokemon apparently. But anyways, start the battle off against him using my Keldeo to body slam into him and paralyze him. Then I'm gonna go out into my Sceptile to Razor Leaf. He actually switched out into his Petalil, which I'm able to get some nice coil up against him, which ends up working out for us as we're able to eventually knock out the Petalil. I do get Mummy though, it's kind of annoying, so my fur coat goes down. The next one will be a Vanillite. I don't one-shot him as he unfortunately gets an ice move off against me, so I'm like, ooh, I gotta kill him now. So Razor Shell to knock out the Vanillite, and his next one will be a Steelix, which I stayed in. I'm like, you know, let's just test the damage on Razor Shell. Doesn't work out pretty well, and Boomers almost knocks me out. I'm like, okay, I'm just playing around too much. Go out to my Keldeo, and Keldeo's getting cooked up by the Steelix. Eventually knocks out the Steelix, but we almost lose my Keldeo, which would have been really bad. I didn't get Baneful Bunker by the Ghastly, so I get poisoned. I gotta switch on to my Crocodile, and lucky enough, Crocodile was able to get some licks off against the Ghastly. Eventually knock out the Ghastly. His next one will be a Seadra. I don't know why I stayed in. It's a water type Pokemon, but I didn't assume it's gonna have such a strong water type move. It has Steam Eruption to knock out my Crocodile, and I'm like, okay, I just got that thing. I evolved that thing like 6 different times. So I go out to my Thundurus. Thundurus able to chip down a Slacking. Lucky enough, it didn't have anything super strong against me as I made the Dazzling Gleam into him. He has Nightshade, which I made to survive because I have a bunch of leftover HP. So I'm able to just knock him out eventually and end up beating down Hollow, but lose a Pokemon in the process. A lot of things going on already. So we end up losing Crocodile, but you know what, it should be fine as we're gonna face up against Dexio, and Dexio also has 6 Pokemon, and he has this demonic Lugia, which has like, I think he has Heal Order and some other order, which is super annoying. As you can see, the stallage with the Lugia. This is the only Lugia I've seen in the entire run though, so I'm glad I never see him again. Eventually we're able to knock out the Lugia and beat Dexio, which it shouldn't be a boss fight, honestly. From there we're gonna move out into Route 4 and start shiny hunting at Route 4. Our next Pokemon will be a shiny Weavile with Delta Stream, which is actually so bad because the main point of Weavile is that it's going to have ice moves to attack flying type Pokemon, but Delta Streams weaken super effective moves against flying type Pokemon. So yeah, so Delta Stream Weavile is actually the biggest useless thing in the world. Like, I don't. Anyways, we face up against Hal in the range, and lucky enough, we're able to beat him down. From there, we can move out into this portion before the Brooklyn Hills, get ourselves a shiny Delphox, which is pretty nice. We also face off against the Water Totem, which again, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I kind of, you know, lost the plot here. They're pretty under level, so it doesn't matter at all. But we go out into the route after, right before the Battle Royal, as we get ourselves a shiny Magnezone, and also move out to the West Peak Volcano. We're going to catch ourselves a Vaporeon out here as well, and then face off against the Fire Trial, which isn't too difficult. Yeah, Keldeo is just my go-to Pokemon. I just really love using Keldeo apparently. From there we can move out into Route 11, and the reason why we'll go into Route 11 is because we start shiny hunting out here, and we found this demonic beast. We found Lunala. I'm like, oh my god, this thing is so cool looking. Like, my heart started jumping. Like, this thing looks so cool when it entered the frame. Like, it's super red. It's like humongous as well, and it's also my first encounter. And also I got a Master Ball for him, so I'm gonna catch it, add it to my team obviously. And from there we can move on into the Grass Trial. Also my Larvitar evolved into a Lairon, so that thing's kind of useless. We also beat down the Grass Trial in 1 turn. And then from there we're gonna move out and face out against the next Kahuna in the game. We're face out against Olivia. Olivia's gonna be, oh, I can't say rock type Kahuna. We can start the battle off against it. She has 6 Pokemon. She starts the battle off against us using a Rapidash. Again, since they're past level 30, they actually are forced to be fully evolved at this point. So yeah, I almost knock out the Rapidash as she goes out to her Minun. As I go out to my Sceptile, and Sceptile is able to eventually knock out the Minun, and also her next Pokemon will be a Masquerain. And then I go out to my Thundurus, which has Imposter, Illusion, as it's gonna just be super weird. Eventually I'm able to chip down the Masquerain as Olivia's gonna go out to her Desolate Land Heatran, and I'm like, I want this thing is so cool. Anyways, I go out to my Hydreigon. Hydreigon's able to glare it down and then chip it down using Tri-Attack, And yeah, it's pretty bad. Everyone is slightly good, but also slightly bad at the same time. As I made to force out the Rotom Fan, and I go out to my Weavile. Weavile does have Icicle Spear, but unfortunately Delta Stream inhibits on my ability to do anything. So unfortunately, I can't do a lot of damage with my Weavile. From there, you can switch out into her Heatran as I go out to my Hydreigon. Hydreigon unfortunately will not live against the Heatran as it's gonna Ice Punch and knock out my poor Hydreigon. So from there, I gotta move out. I gotta go out to my Sceptile, which would knock out the Heatran. Next one will be a Masquerain, which I go for Coils against. And then I feel like a Mega Horn should have missed at some point, or it ran out of PP. But it wasn't really missing, and it wasn't really running out of PP. So eventually, I gotta just take the damage on the Masquerain. And unfortunately, my Sceptile goes down. I'm like, this thing's so annoying. I swear Mega Horn only has like 5 or 10 PP at max. I then go out to my Thundurus, which is illusion into Lairon. Thundurus is able to knock out the Masquerain for us, which is nice. Her next one will be a Rapidash. I end up knocking out the Rapidash. Get poison threaded by the Salazzle, but I'm able to still knock him out. Does Draco Meteor me, which is kind of scary, but I'm able to Hyperspace Hole and knock out the Salazzle as her next Pokemon, and final Pokemon will be the Rotom Fan. I'll go out to my Keldeo, which is a bit scary because it does have 2 stabs that are super effective against Keldeo, but I'm able to Moonblast into the Rotom Fan and eventually knock him out, right? Knock him out? Do you knock him out? Okay, yeah, it just electrifies. I'm able to knock him out as ready to beat down Olivia, and we lose 2 Pokemon in the process, which sucks, but you know what doesn't suck? Magnezone and Lunala. So that's definitely doesn't suck. As you can see, Lunala takes up the entire battlefield for us. We also cleared through a lot of trials. We got a bunch of access to new items in the shop, as we just can take advantage of all this. You can get all these TM. We also get ourselves a Fearow in the garden, which isn't too great. We also go into the path of the story, get ourselves a shiny Xurkitree, which I'm like, okay, I don't think I've ever seen this thing, but also, you know, that's another legendary added to my team. We also get a Hippowdon on the mountain. I forgot the mountain, but it's like the mountain for the Electric Trial. But from there, we're gonna move out and face off against that Electric Trial itself. So this thing wasn't too difficult at all. I don't know why they're not fully evolved, but we cleared through the Electric Trial with a Helioptile, and then from there we can move out. We go on this side of the road into the power plant side and get ourselves a shiny Nihilego. So I'm like, oh my god. And then right after the route we get ourselves a shiny Tapu Lele. I'm like, no one's gonna believe me. Everyone thinks I'm just gonna cheat and start getting the encounters I want. I promise you, this is the first encounter in each route. Anyways, from there we can go out to the Ghost Trial and face off against the Sceptile. The Sceptile was pretty easy to face off against because, you know, under level. But yeah, we cleared through the Ghost Trial pretty easily and face off against Gladion. He's pretty difficult actually, since my team is good on paper. It's actually really great on paper. A lot of Pokemon to pivot around, but the movesets aren't that great, so I gotta be very careful as we're able to beat down Gladion, but gotta be careful from now on. You know, Lunala could got crunched at one point and just died. So anyways, from there we beat down Gladion and face off against Nanu next. Nanu's the next Kahuna in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my Keldeo against his Wigglytuff, which is a weird Pokemon to have, but I'm gonna start the battle off going for a Tail Glow, and then 2 Tail Glows kind of just secure the battle as I'm able to Moonblast, knock out the Wigglytuff, knock out the Earth Ring in one shot. The next one will be a Registeel, which would be a problem, but I do have Heat Wave as a TM. So I'm able to Heat Wave and knock out the Registeel. The next one will be Electro, which outspeeds me and discharge me. Kind of scary, as I'm able to Moonblast and one-shot him. So gotta be worried about that. His next one will be a Hippowdon, which I Moonblast and one-shot. And his final Pokemon will be a Regirock, which I'm pretty sure I can Moonblast and one-shot because this thing has like no special defense. So I'm able to knock out the Regirock. It's not ironic that he has a random team, but he has 2 Regi Pokemons. There's only like 4 Regi Pokemons in the entire game. Yeah, interesting how he had 2 of them. And those are like the 2 I've seen the entire game. I don't think I've seen any more after that. But anyways, from there, we're going to face off against Aether Foundation. How it has a casual Palkia and then just casually pull out the Mew as well. This game is just filled with legendaries and mythical Pokemon everywhere. I feel bad for these regular trainers because we definitely got main character plot armor. As from there, we're going to face off against Lucamine, and my Thundurus is just able to clean up against Lucamine pretty easily. Tapu Lele ended up not being that great of a Pokemon to use since I don't have really Psychic moves. It only has Luster's Purge. It doesn't have even Psychic Terrains, so it's kind of underused. Anyways, from there, we're going to move on, face off against the final Kahuna in the game. We're face off against Hapu. We're going to start the battle off against Hapu using my Keldeo. And Keldeo is going for, obviously, Tail Glows and then Moonblast to knock out the Solrock. It's a shiny Solrock, I just realized that. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Galvantula, which I'm pretty sure I can outspeed as I'm able to Moonblast and knock out as well. Her next Pokemon after that will be a Giratina, which I don't know why I went for Draco Meteor, but I went for Draco Meteor to knock out the Giratina for sure. I had Moonblast at +2, so I don't know why. Her next Pokemon will be a Delta Stream Maltake, which, okay, interesting. I go for Draco Meteor again, it survived it, and it went for Hydro Cannon. So from there, I could have gone for Tail Glow, but I decided to switch out for some reason. From there, I got to my Thunderous, which will disguise myself as my Delphox, which will Charge Sweep, knock out the Molotov, and then from there, Eruption with my Thunderous to knock out the Beedrill, which is so funny. Then her next Pokemon will be a Golurk, which I go for Eruption again. It goes for Shift Gear, but the battle should be pretty much over. I get a Bite on me, it gets Flinch, kind of annoying, but from there, I'm able to Hyper Seize Hole and knock out the Golurk as we're to beat down Hapu. That Hapu's reaction is my reaction too. What is this run? This seed is crazy. Anyways, from there, we're going to go out to the final trial in the game, which is going to be a Magby. Really underwhelming. The trials are actually the worst things in this video so far. I wish I could change them, but maybe for next time. But anyways, from there, we beat down the Magby, and then we can move out and face off against Lusamine in this really weird fight with her, which she has a lot of boosted up Pokemon. Actually, her Pokemon are kind of funny. She gets the Togedemaru and gets angry at me, so that's kind of funny. I go for Tail Glow in front of the Togedemaru, which is kind of scary because it could have electric moves, but it ended up going for Liquidations as I get a +6 on my Tail Glows and then knocking out the Togedemaru. Her next Pokemon will be a Chestnut, which I one-shot as well. Then her next Pokemon after that will be a Florges. I one-shot that thing as well. Her next Pokemon after that will be a Regice, which I missed the Heat Wave. The first time I missed the Heat Wave in the sun, by the way. It's kind of annoying, but anyways, I missed the Heat Wave. It almost knocked me out with a Freeze Dry, so I gotta go out to my Magnezone. Magnezone has Blue Flares to knock out the Regice for us, so we end up knocking out the Regice. Next Pokemon will be a Zygarde completed. I'm like, oh, that's fitting. That thing is monstrous. I go out into, I'm not gonna stay in. This thing has this thing could have actual good moves, and it does have its signature move, 1,000 Arrows, for some reason. So I go out to my Lunala, was a good play, as I do have Ice Burn on it, and it works out. Lucky enough, I could survive one more 1,000 Arrows as I'm able to Ice Burn and one-shot the Zygarde for us, since it's 4 times weak. And then from there, her final Pokemon will be a Corsola, which I go for 2 Aura Spheres with my Lunala to knock out Lusamine, as we end up beating down Lusamine in the final really hard fight in the game. From there, we can face off against Gladion and our way into Victory Road and into, obviously, the Elite Four. So we end up beating down Gladion. It's not too difficult. We just have Lunala just clutching up. Once we head into Victory Road, though, first few Pokemon are kind of scary. Dialga's in here. I'm like, oh, Dialga's cool. And then Ray's in here. I'm like, oh, could I have Ray too? I'm like, maybe. What if I just box Delphox and then start shiny hunting out here? But there's so many weak Pokemon that most of the time I'm probably gonna get something bad, so I didn't even try to do that. But I did end up boxing down Delphox for Nihilego as we face off against Hal next, and against Hal we click him down. He had a shiny Ho-Oh, which is so cool. I go out to my Nihilego because it's a rock type. Surprise to me, it lowers my defense. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna discharge into him, get it paralyzed, nice. Then it has Precipice Blades. I'm like, what are the chances of that? That's a 4 times weak move on a Pokemon that doesn't have it naturally. So Ho-Oh just had it. Even if it had Sand Tomb or something, I would have survived. But it had to have the strongest ground type move possible. Anyways, I go out to my Thunderous. We're gonna clean up. We beat Howl, no problems at all. Honestly, that's the biggest throw in my life. Nihilego's first fight was actually its last fight. So Nihilego goes down, and I sweep down Howl after that. Jeez, that was the only time I used Nihilego and it went down. So I gotta replace Nihilego and Delphox with Xurkitree. So that's super annoying. Anyways, we can head into the Elite Four next. We're going to face off against the Elite Four. We're going to start the battle off. Doesn't matter which one because they're all random. We're going to face off against Hala with my Keldeo to start against his Swallow. We can go for Tail Glows in front of the Swallow as he does go for a flying move, but he does have Pecks out of everything. So I survive pretty easily. I go for a Moonblast to knock out the Swallow. From there, his next opponent would be a Mesprit. I go for Moonblast. It doesn't knock him up, but he goes for Encore and then wastes his full restores. So works out and knock out the Mesprit. His next opponent will be a Sylveon. I 2-shot into him as he sets up Misty Terrain for me. So Moonblast gets a boost as we knock out the Sylveon. His next opponent will be a Zekrom. I go for Moonblast to knock him out as well. And his next opponent will be a Go-Go, which I go for Heat Wave to knock out. And his final opponent will be a Scizor. Heat Wave to knock out the Scizor as well as we end up beating down Hala. And honestly, that fight was pretty free. From there, we're going to move on, face off against Olivia next. Olivia's giving me the next Elite Four. I was going to say Rock type Elite Four member, but it's not. I go for Lunala just to switch it up because I use Keldeo too much, but I go for 2 Tail Glows with my Lunala, and Lunala is able to survive anything against this Dugong because it's a Dugong. But anyways, from there, I'm able to Aura Sphere and knock out a Dugong. Her next Pokemon after that will be a Dugtrio, which I outspeed, luckily, and Aura Sphere to knock out as well. Her next Pokemon after that will be a Haxorus. I go for Aura Sphere to one-shot as well, just sweeping down everything. But a +6 Aura Sphere from Lunala does not kill a Blissey. Do you guys know that? I didn't. So we're going to waste some turns against the Blissey, but eventually we knock him out with my Aura Sphere. From there, her next opponent after that will be an Arbok, which I could go for any move. I went for Fire Blast out of everything. So Fire Blast to knock out the Arbok. The next opponent will be Zumro, which I go for Aura Spheres. 2 Aura Spheres to knock out the Zumro as we end up beating down Olivia. And from there, we could face out against Accelera. Accelera is going to start to battle off against us using a BEM, which I'm like, you know what, this fight could be hard. I go for Xurkitree. Xurkitree goes for 2 Hurricanes to knock out the Behem. Next opponent will be Tyrantrum. I actually decided to stay in for some reason and use Core Enforcer because this is like Zygarde's main move. But anyways, Core Enforcer does not kill, and then it goes for Camouflage, and I'm like, that's definitely a move I wouldn't use. Anyways, I go for Core Enforcer again. It does a little under for Psycho Boost to knock out the Tyrantrum, and from there, I'm going to switch out against the Turtonator. I go out to my Keldeo to Draco Meteor. It doesn't knock out the Turtonator, which is surprising. I was like, what? How's that possible? So I gotta go for Moonblast the hard way, knock out the Turtonator. The next opponent after that will be Basculin, which has Hurricane, which I'm like, okay. I go out to my Magnezone with Frenzy Plant to knock out the Basculin, and then her next opponent will be a Shiny Torkoal, which almost Sacred Fires and kills my Magnezone. Could have been really bad, so I gotta switch out. I decided to switch out into my Tapu Lele, and Lele does have Earth Power to knock out the Torkoal for us, and then her final opponent will be a Milotic, which unfortunately almost knocks out my Tapu Lele, but I do have my Thundurus in the back. It's disguised as Xurkitree, but eventually I'm able to Charge Beam into him, take a Glaciate, which is super effective, but I'm able to knock out the Milotic as we're able to beat down Accelera. And the next and final Leaf Form member we gotta face off against is gonna be Kahili. Kahili's gonna start the battle off against us using, you know, the Island Guardian, Tapu Koko against my Xurkitree. So it's kind of actually an anime fight. I'm gonna use my Xurkitree to eventually knock out the Tapu Koko. The next opponent will be a Noctowl, which I just stayed in, Psycho Boost to knock out as well. The next opponent will be an Altaria, which I go out to my Keldeo. And Keldeo went for Moonblast, doesn't kill it, but I do get, is it Tearful Eye? Well, it doesn't matter as I'm able to Moonblast and knock out the Altaria. Almost kills me with Inwards Out, which is scary. Oh my god, imagine if it got some more damage off against me, it would have been super annoying. From there, I go out into my Magnezone against her Delibird. I made the Blue Flare and knock out the Delibird. Next opponent will be a Hitmontop, which I stayed in for some reason. I don't know why, but from there, I'm going to switch out to my Lunala. Lucky enough, it missed the Hammer Arm the first time. I didn't take a Cell Rock, but I just ate it up and got my HP back with leftovers. And from there, I'm able to Fire Blast and knock out the Hitmontop. And then from there, her final opponent will be a Tapu Fini. I go out to my Magnezone, and then from there, I'm able to just Frenzy Plant and knock out the Tapu Fini for us as we beat down Kahili. And now, we also, by the way, we also picked up the items. We didn't spawn them in or anything. We picked up the healing items we need to heal our Pokemon. We have Energy Roots as our main healing item. From there, we're going to move out and face off against the final fight in the game. We face off against Professor Kukui. He's going to start the battle off against us using a Selgor. I'm going to start the battle off against him using my Xurkitree, because Xurkitree is kind of fun to play with. And I'm able to Heat Wave and knock out the Selgor. His next opponent will be a Starmie, which I go out into my Tapu Lele. Take a Lance Rev. Looking up, I switched out, or could have been really bad, but I'm going for a Bug Buzz, which doesn't kill him. So, looking up, I survive a second move from the Starmie. I'm able to Bug Buzz and knock out the Starmie. His next opponent will be a Kangaskhan, which I was kind of scared for it being Mega for some reason. So, he doesn't have great moves against me. So, he ends up going for Dive as I go for 2 Tail Glows. And yeah, that should be the end of the fight. So +6 Lunala end up being down everything else. So Aurasphere to knock out the Kangaskhan, and then from there his next opponent will be Simisage. I mean to Aurasphere and knock out the Simisage. His next opponent after that will be a Sigilyph. I go for Fire Blast to one-shot the Sigilyph, and his final Pokemon will be a Granbull, which I go for a Fire Blast and one-shot it as we're to beat down Professor Kukui, which this video was completely all over the place. I'm not gonna lie, it was so random that it was just so much going on, and we didn't even lose a single Pokemon in the entire Elite Four, which is kind of scary. My team was pretty solid, and like it's super strong. Like luckily enough, we caught that Keldeo, and we didn't lose against Lima where we had to reset. This run was really fun to do. But anyways, that'll be the end of me today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. And yeah, let me know if you guys want me to do more randomizers. They're kind of fun to do. Kind of fun and like just all over the place, which is just chaotic. Chaotic fun. But anyways, my name's been Alpha, and I hope you guys all have a great day. I'm out. Peace.